Out of all of the Democrat influencers out there, only one can take the crown for the most pretentious, the most self-righteous, the most sassy, the most intellectually lazy, the most Trump deranged, the most un-American, the most generally unlikable, and it's not Destiny. This award goes to none other than Dean Withers. Dean Withers is a 20-year-old leftist TikTok influencer who, despite not being old enough to buy alcohol, has convinced himself and all of his TikTok followers that he's some sort of philosophical genius, that his ideas are so unique and insightful that they've never been conceived before in human history, and he has the world entirely figured out. Dean Withers is part of a cohort consisting of two other snarky, fast-talking liberal soy boy TikTokers, Harry Sisson and Parker, who I guess doesn't have a last name, but goes by the online alias Parker Get a Job, which is ironically what he should be doing instead of cosplaying online as some political whiz kid. Now, the job of Dean Withers and his band of merry men is to create the most hyper-partisan, polarizing political content on the internet. Dean's entire platform is chronically engaging in extremely bad faith arguments void of any logic or intellectual foundation for the sake of internet clicks. He yells and screams like a child, tries to impose his false sense of moral and intellectual superiority, calls people a Nazi at every turn, uses extreme and intellectually lazy examples and hypotheticals, and seeks nothing but gotcha moments to satisfy his chronically online audience. With his latest stunt of egregious self-righteousness being doxing a caller who he had on for a debate and calling child protective services on them because he disagreed with the man's opinion. Dean Withers represents a young generation of liberals who made politics their entire personality, who derive all of their self-worth from pretending to be an astute and well-informed political thinker, virtue signaling and having strong opinions on matters they know nothing about in order to be perceived as mature or wise beyond their years. Dean Withers being considered the bro whisperer of the left highlights the exact reason the Democrat Party is struggling with male voters. Dean Withers is snarky, he's catty, he's feminine, he lacks emotional self-control. His behavior is that of a teenager, yet the left platforms him as the ideal version of masculinity, despite being the kind of person that no man would ever aspire to be. Now, before I show you some clips that will solidify why Dean Withers is the most obnoxious influencer on the left, this first clip will show you just how emotionally unhinged he is. Here he is crashing out over someone in his chat, calling him out for vaping on live stream.
I'm sorry that I have anxiety. Okay, and honestly, yeah, it is kind of the fault of people like you that want to come up here and bully and berate me over something that I don't do. Okay, so cut the shit. It's not a vape. All right, it's an anxiety pin, and God, the amount of times that I've asked you to respect me and respect my anxiety pin is, at this point, getting ridiculous, Cody. So please,
justified crash out
for the final and for the billionth time, will you please just respect the fact that it's not a vape and that it's an anxiety pin?
It's a goddamn anxiety pen. Get it right.
What flavor is your vape?
Yo, you really got me.
Get the fuck. Just
for this.
Get the fuck out!
So that was him losing his mind because he can't stand any criticism. In fact, Dean is notorious for muting people, silencing people, kicking them from his live streams if he disagrees with what they're saying, while also proclaiming himself to be some sort of master debater. He enters every conversation with the intentions of being as bad faith as possible, refusing to accept the truth, taking everything out of context, running with every single Democrat mainstream media lie, and attempting to make his opponent look stupid instead of having a rational, respectful adult conversation about ideas. But just the other day, he took his snobby behavior to an all-time low after engaging in a debate with a father about parental rights. And he didn't like the father's answer, so he kicked him from the debate and then proceeds to encourage his audience to find the man's identity so they can call child protective services and have the man's kid taken away. Watch.
Oh, you can find me. It's fine. Nothing I said was wrong. Okay, I just said that the kid doesn't get to make the decision.
What's your name?
I would never put them in that situation.
Okay, what's your name?
And why are you trying to dox people, dude? That's weird.
Because I want to find who you are so I could call CPS and have them take your child away from you.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure you would like to try to do that.
Yes, I would. So
They would never even do it. That's the best part.
Okay. What's
Because
your name?
I would take the part, and I have a witness sitting here who's heard me say I would never put my child in that situation.
Okay. So what's your name?
So don't worry. Move the goalpost too, by the way.
So you said that you think that parents have every right to exploit and traffic their children. So
No, that's not what I said.
So I'm not going to debate it with you. That is what you said. So I just putting this out there for anybody. Feel free to take his profile picture. Maybe you could go on like TikTok.com/his handle. You could save his profile picture, run it through some like reverse image search. Maybe it will link back to like a Facebook or something where you could find his name. And if you do find said information, that's public, by the way.
You're more than welcome to.
Feel free to take that information and report it to CPS.
Now, not only is this something you only do when you're chronically online and don't live in the real world, I mean, how egregious and awful of a person do you have to be to even play around with the idea of getting somebody's kids taken away? But more importantly, it illustrates the anti-American, anti-free speech mindset that the left has. Dean disagrees with you, so now he thinks he's justified in taking your real life in his hands and determining whether you should be allowed to have custody over your child. It's a hangover from the exact strategy Democrats used during the Biden administration that made them so unlikable. They compelled people with force to adopt their worldview. And if you didn't want to, they were coming for your kids in order to suppress people from having opinions the Democrats didn't find acceptable. Suppressing, silencing, canceling, legal ramifications, custodial ramifications. Democrats don't believe in free speech. They believe they should be allowed to police speech because in their mind, they're the moral authority. Now, since my channel's taken off, I have been invited to participate in some of these online debates. And every single time I refuse because of people like Dean Withers. People aren't looking to get their minds changed online, and it's even less likely so when the cameras are rolling. Dean Withers is the meta for how Democrats engage in debate, where it's a childish game of wins and owns and gotchas, all in the name of getting some TikTok likes because they've made politics their entire personality, and that's the only way that they can feel validated as a human. Their bad faith debate style is predicated towards short-form content instead of a rational, intelligent conversation. And I value my time too much to waste it on a pointless, childish online screaming match. I've debated thousands and thousands and thousands of real people in real life who are interested in having an intelligent, good faith conversation. My strongest skill as a person is connecting with other people. I have the power of persuasion, and I would never cheapen myself and stoop down to the level of engaging in performative rage bait with Dean Withers. It would be like an NBA player competing against a bunch of 5-year-olds. I've heard every argument from Democrats at this point. I've heard every point, I've heard every example, I've heard every hypothetical, I've heard every perspective, and I know how to counter it and debunk it in my sleep. I see debate as an important platform to attract and convince one to adopt your way of thinking, not as an opportunity to belittle somebody or make them feel stupid or get them caught up in perpetual gotcha moments. And that's all online political debates are. There's no substance. There's no attempt at consensus. No one is ever willing to admit that they are wrong. We just see debate differently. I see it as a tool for mature conversation that leads to an optimal outcome where each side has a better understanding of one another. Dean Withers sees it as performative theatrics. Here he is trying to crash Charlie Kirk speaking with college students and is furious that Charlie Kirk is ignoring him for the exact same reasons I just mentioned. I would also ignore him.
It's a very pussy move on your part to keep avoiding Dean.
Then debate me.
People like
Let
you-
me on the mic. Let me on the mic.
Get Dean on the mic. That's the whole reason I came up here. It's a pussy move for you to keep avoiding him.
This was Dean's whole plan. I'm gonna bring these people here. Woo!
We've been told by every single one of Kirk's staffers that he doesn't want to talk to us. I have some disagreeing questions. Do you think I could ask him?
Well, that's something you're going to have to talk to somebody else about.
The reason we weren't let in line is because we don't go to college. But apparently neither does a guy on the mic. Yeah, we're in MAGA territory now. We need to be very respectful.
Hey, Charlie, Dean's here. Dean!
Oh, okay. Come on. You have a permit?
We should talk. trying to talk to Charlie Kirk, but it's not working. Do you think me and Kirk should have a conversation?
100%.
You got to get me up there, man.
You may be purposely ignoring you.
This has proven to be very difficult.
I think that we are in the free marketplace of ideas. Anyone should be able to come up here and challenge and debate you. If you're really for that, as you say you would allow someone to come up here and debate you on that.
So as you see, he's just a childish, attention-seeking TikToker who's never done anything in the real world, has no tangible achievements or accomplishments, influence or popularity. And so he has to desperately try to heckle Charlie Kirk to get attention because his insecure, overinflated sense of self-importance has convinced him that his 1 million chronically online TikTok audience will translate into real-life support. Now, him and one of his soy boy buddies, Parker Get a Job, had a brilliant idea to take advantage of the real-life attention that Charlie Kirk draws from campus to campus and follow them and do their own anti-Charlie Kirk event at every university Charlie Kirk goes to. And because they're a bunch of 20-year-olds with no life experience, no connections, no business experience, and think they're way smarter and more competent than they actually are, the entire operation blew up and failed at their first stop. Here's a clip from that at Texas A&M, where the sprinkler system is turned on to get them to leave while they're in the middle of talking to their crowd of, 11 people.
That's fucked up.
So free speech, everyone. We're gonna go and we're gonna go over there. We'll just move it. This is ridiculous.
Oh my god.
So while these people are failing to successfully pull off one event, Charlie Kirk and his organization that employs thousands of people is a well-oiled machine that is moving from campus to campus and attracting thousands of people at each stop. Of course, he's ignoring Dean Withers. Who is Dean Withers? Charlie Kirk is a big dog who actually influenced the outcome of the presidential election. Of course, he's not going to give you the time of day. He's not going to cheapen the status of his event by giving a platform to some snarky, bad-meaning TikTok debater whose entire world is getting clips. The funnier part is after the implosion of their event at Texas A&M, one of the members of their team criticized the rest of the team for being unorganized. And because they're a whole bunch of wacko woke liberals, some of the black members of the team took that criticism to be racist because obviously everything is racist. And that internal dysfunction led to the end of their anti-Charlie Kirk event tour after just one stop. But let me touch on that Parker kid for a second because he's just as bad as Dean Withers and highlights the bad faith nature of every argument they go into, and again reaffirms why I would never waste my valuable time debating any of these dorks.
I'll give you an example. If you're in Nazi Germany and it is the case that there's Jewish people in your attic and you're trying to protect them, would you lie to the Nazis?
I would have done everything I bloody well could so I wouldn't be in that situation to begin with. It's a hypothetical and it's not answerable. You can't answer hypotheticals? No, I can't answer a hypothetical like that. If you present me with an intractable moral choice that's stripped of context and you back me into a corner, you're playing game. I just told you I would do everything that I could, tell the least amount of lie I could manage. But that would likely indicate that I had made all sorts of catastrophic errors on my way there.
So you would lie to save someone's life. So again, you do believe it to be true in that circumstance, even though you lied in that scenario. Some circumstances that do happen within the real world, you would lie to save people's lives. So your definition of truth isn't actually how we're typically using it.
Now, Dean and friends love to compare everything to Nazis, and they always use hypotheticals involving Nazis. Their strategy is to use examples and hypotheticals that are so extreme that have a 0% chance of ever occurring to try to get you to contradict yourself, and then they've got their magical gotcha moment. It shows the lack of emotional and intellectual maturity. A hypothetical in the context of a debate is meant to seek clarification. I believe Jordan Peterson was talking about trying to go on this journey of seeking the truth, and that means abstaining from lying, to summarize his argument, and I could be wrong. And Parker's response is to use a hypothetical asking if he would lie if he was in Nazi Germany to save the life of a Jewish person. And when Jordan Peterson refuses to answer it because it's such a stupid hypothetical, Parker grins with joy because he thinks he's got his marvelous gotcha. Why won't you answer it? Why won't you answer it? Because the point of a hypothetical, like I said, is to seek clarification. And if your hypothetical requires having access to a time machine to send you 85 years back into the past, into Nazi Germany, into a hyper-specific situation in which if you somehow just speak a lie, it will save the life of a Jewish person. The scenario is unrealistic that it doesn't add any additional clarification. The proper and good faith use of a hypothetical might be to ask Jordan Peterson if a 4-year-old asked him if Santa Claus was real, would he still lie then? That is a plausible and probable scenario that most people could find themselves in. That would give you your clarification to his moral stance of he doesn't lie. If your hypothetical has a 0% chance of actually happening, it's a poorly used hypothetical and shows clear intellectual ineptitude. If I say humans can't fly, and your response is, well, if you woke up one day with the powers of Superman, then could you fly? And I respond with, well, yeah, I guess. And you jump up and down with joy because you got me, I contradicted myself. It shows you're arguing for argument's sake and you have a concerning desperation to be right. Now, after everything that I've showed you about Dean Withers, would it surprise you to learn that his own brother, who's conservative leaning, kicked him out of his house because he is just too insufferable? Well, here is Dean Withers breaking that news to the internet.
I got kicked out of my brother's house. He turned my power off while I was on live. In live, walk out. Brother's like, get the hell out. Get all of your shit and dip. He ended up kicking me out because he's alt-right Christian conservative. I'm liberal content creator. He called me the Antichrist. He called me an agent of chaos. Dehumanizing as fuck. He said the same shit to me that all those crazy Republican nutbags say in my comment section, say on my live. He even brought up how he thinks that me, Harry, Chris Parker won Trump the election. It was relationship ending. I never, ever, ever want a relationship with that man again. It was absolutely unreal. I cannot believe that my biological brother, that I grew up with, would ever do that. It's unfucking unreal.
This is what happens when you make politics your entire life. And not just that, but intentionally being as condescending, elitist, and unlikable as possible. On top of everything off-putting about this kid and why I would never debate him personally, it's also because I just don't care. I have the conviction of knowing I'm right. I don't need to waste my time hearing why Dean Withers thinks men can become women, why America is systemically racist and black people are less than white people, why tens of millions of illegal immigrants should be allowed to stay in the United States, why Trump's tariffs aren't a good idea from a kid who couldn't even successfully launch one event at one location, why everyone deserves free handouts from the government. I'm just not interested. Anytime I debate anybody in real life at this point, I start off by asking them, can a man become a woman? And for me, that's the litmus test to decide if I'm even going to engage further with them. If we can't agree on basic truth, basic biological reality, there's a 0% chance I'm going to engage with you on more complex issues like foreign policy, economics. Guys like Dean Withers and his band of merry men think that the peak form of masculinity is something that resembles a woman. Catty, sarcastic, emotional, persnippety. The way Dean Withers behaves and conducts himself in arenas that are supposed to be mature and sophisticated is exactly like a high school girl. But yet the Democrat media thinks this guy is going to be the savior of the party that brings all the guys back. He is the epitome of intolerant in the name of tolerance. He swears he's so kind and compassionate and empathetic, but will try and call Child Protective Services on somebody he merely disagrees with. He, like so many other Democrats, don't even see the hypocrisy in their entire worldview. They see themselves as pure, perfect saints who can do no wrong, who are the most altruistic people in the world, whose worldview is predicated on love and acceptance and inclusion. They pretend to be these stunningly flawless and perfect humans who don't think the wrong thing or say the wrong thing. And it always comes off as inauthentic and preachy. The left can't accept that humans are flawed. We're not perfect. But Democrats Democrats have to pretend that they are because their entire self-worth is built on an insecure lie that they're just vastly better than everybody. And so if they've convinced themselves that they believe in compassion and love and inclusivity, and you happen to disagree with them, then you must stand for hate, intolerance, and bigotry. And so they exaggerate and they take things to the extreme. You're a Nazi because they think if they use inflammatory language, it shows this inspiring and commendable burning passion that they have to stand up for what's right and fight injustice, when all it does is make them look like judgy, pretentious assholes. But I hope this video explained why I don't engage in pointless online debates, why I don't do street interviews fishing for viral moments, why I just sit here at my desk and give you guys my unfiltered opinion, and why Dean Withers is the most obnoxious influencer on the left. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on those notification bells so you never miss a video. And I will see you guys in the next one.